He stole the parking spot I shoveled, so I froze his windshield solid. My neighbor took the snow-cleared parking spot. He regretted it. I stood there in the freezing dark, staring at my neighbor's car parked comfortably in the spot I had just spent 45 minutes shoveling by hand. My fingers were numb. My back was on fire. And in that moment, I didn't just feel annoyed. I felt disrespected. Because if you've ever shoveled snow in sub-zero weather, you know one thing for sure. That spot isn't just parking. It's earned. And my neighbor had just stolen it. If you've ever been pushed just far enough that your inner villain quietly clocked in for work, hit like, subscribe, and get comfortable. Because this is one of those revenge stories that's small, petty, and unbelievably satisfying. Full story. Winter has a special way of bringing out the worst in people. There's something about bitter cold, howling wind, and endless snow that turns everyday inconveniences into personal battles. And on this particular morning, winter came prepared. 8 inches of snow fell overnight. Not the light, fluffy kind. The heavy, wet kind that sticks to your shovel and laughs at your gloves. The wind chill made it feel like the temperature had dropped into the negatives. Normally, I drive an all-wheel drive SUV. Snow isn't a big deal for me. But that morning, my car was down. So we had to take my wife's Prius. And if you've ever driven a Prius in winter, you already know it slides if you breathe on the gas pedal wrong. Which meant there was no shortcut, no half effort, no rushing. I bundled up, stepped into the dark, and started shoveling. 45 minutes. 45 minutes of scraping ice. 45 minutes of lifting heavy snow. 45 minutes of my breath fogging the air while my fingers slowly went numb. By the time I finished, my shoulders were burning, my face stung from the cold, and sweat had soaked through my clothes, instantly freezing the moment I stopped moving. But the car was free. A clean, open parking spot carved out of pure effort. We drove to the store, grabbed groceries, and headed back about an hour later. Cold, tired, relieved. Then I saw it. My neighbor's car, parked perfectly in the spot I had just shoveled. I stopped walking. At first, I thought maybe I was mistaken. But no. Same cleared space. Same snowbanks on either side. Same footprints for my boots. He didn't shovel it. He took it. Now, technically, our apartment complex didn't have assigned parking. Anyone could park anywhere. But winter has rules. Unspoken rules. If you shovel a spot, it's yours. Everyone knows that. Which means my neighbor didn't just park there. He chose to ignore the rule. I felt my jaw tighten. My teeth clenched. My hands curled inside my gloves. I didn't yell. I didn't knock on his door. I didn't confront him. Because something colder than anger settled in. I went inside. I grabbed 2 empty-gallon jugs and filled them with water. Then I went back out. The wind cut across my face as I approached his car. The windshield reflected the streetlight, clean and untouched. I lifted the first jug and poured. Water spilled across the glass and ran down the sides. By the time the jug was empty, frost was already forming along the edges. I went back inside, filled the jugs again. Pour, freeze, repeat. Each time, the layer grew thicker. The water stopped running and started clinging. By the time I finished, I had poured about 10 gallons of water onto his windshield. It was already freezing solid before I walked away. That night, the temperature dropped even lower. The kind of cold where ice doesn't crack. It locks. The next morning, I made coffee and looked out the window. Right on schedule, my neighbor walked outside. He stopped dead when he saw his car. First confusion, then disbelief, then panic. He tried scraping. Nothing happened. He scraped harder, changed angles, tried the wipers. They didn't move. Because this wasn't frost. It was layers. Layer after layer of solid ice fused together overnight. I watched him scrape for minutes. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. His movements got sharper. More desperate. At one point, he stepped back with his hands on his hips, breathing hard, staring at the windshield like it had betrayed him. I took a sip of coffee. Eventually, he went back inside. I don't know how late he was to work that day. I don't know how long it took him to finally clear it. But I do know this. He never took my parking spot again. Climax and payoff. That morning wasn't about destruction. No broken glass. No damaged paint. No police calls. Just time. Cold. Earned. He lost exactly what he stole from me. Effort. And watching him slowly realize that his shortcut had consequences was more than enough. Reflective wrap-up. Some people call it petty. I call it winter justice. Because respect isn't enforced by rules. It's enforced by consequences. And sometimes karma needs a little water. Outro, CTA. If this story made you smile, hit like. If you've ever witnessed or delivered petty revenge, drop in the comments. And subscribe for more stories where karma always shows up right on time.